Hi everyone, it is Shay Seeking. Welcome back to the channel. We are here with another small portion of This is Not Your Mama's Bible Study. Let me just take it back. Okay. This is Not Your Mama's Bible Study. And well, I guess this is an even mix of history or his story lied. Okay. So, those of you that are new to the channel, I'll just give my quick disclaimer that we do not do things the traditional way when it comes to reading the Bible. We do not look at it and read over the scripture like a storyline. We dig and pick apart and flip over things to get a better inner and understanding of what we are reading in the Word. Okay, I think that things that have been puffed up, like religion and other forms of indoctrination, have misled the masses. Okay, we have let these pastors lead us to these green pastures. And I said, the time that you're munching down on that grass, they have a wolf in sheep's clothing coming up on your, you know what. So now that we see that there might be some deception in almost everything that we think we know, we like to take, especially the Old Testament and the old world history, and put them together and ask the question, why? Why are these things so very similar? What was really going on back then? Okay, because some of these people that belong to these bloodlines that have been in power for so long, their family has records of you and them that they can go look into to see certain things that are supposed to come or that did come. Okay, so I like to ask myself, is this stuff prophecy or plan? Okay, because we're gonna keep it all the way real. We have no other choice. We have no. We've been learning things the way that they have wanted you to for so long. Okay, and now that I know that we have been misled on so many different levels, I have the right to go and look at the word and flip it upside down and inside out and see what we're really talking about. Okay, we don't just read the Bible at the surface. I'm not. You know what? I cannot even do it that way if I want to. I was never able to do it that way. I say, "Oh, what's wrong with you? Is something wrong with you? You know, you must be bad or some kind of demon or something, because why are you reading the Bible like this? Why does the Bible why do it sound like this God don't like us? Why do it sound like these type of things?" But you know, when you're around people that don't know no better, okay, ignorance is bliss, okay, and it's not a mean thing to say that ignorance existed amongst our people at a certain time, okay. That is not knocking our people at all. It's just basically telling the truth, okay, and being relevant with what was actually going on at that particular time. Some of this ignorance was not their fault. Now that we're in a day and age of truth and knowledge, wisdom and discernment, you should be able to turn this thing around, okay? So again, I'm not no Christian. I'm not a religious person. I do not go to church. This is my disclaimer. This first 5 minutes, okay? So you guys, everybody does know that you're coming back. You know what to do. Go ahead and skip up. I'll probably put a time stamp to let you know when the rambling is over, but I have to do it for the people that are just coming or seeing these videos for the first time. Okay? So what we do is take the old world in the Old Testament, and we put them basically side by side in some type of way. Some type of a way that some of us have certain ways of, well, okay, I'll say this. Okay. With this whole awakening thing that's coming on the people. I believe that there are certain gifts that we have been put here for. There's the things that mankind has told you that you're here to do in the way that you're supposed to operate and what life is all about. And then there is the way that we are coming into light of right now. There is a God that mankind has placed above you, okay? In a sense, okay? By indoctrinating you and your children for several hundreds of years. And then there is a way that there I am showing, well, not me myself, but there's another way to look at this God complex. And that may be looking at the God that is within you. Now, I'm not saying that scripture says this word for word, but there are times that have been listed in the Bible where certain people, maybe even like Jesus, said that ye are gods, and the temple is within you, and God does not reside in a temple built by man's hands. So, when you look at these things, I have no other choice but to re-examine what we're really talking about. Okay. So we basically take this, the storylines, and we are asking why these storylines are so uh, close to each other. Okay. Why do they resemble each other so much? What was really going on? What are we really worshiping? What do we really know? Because I'm telling you, as people in this world, we think we know, but we have no idea, especially when it comes to people that are in religions and so called indoctrinated by these schools and the education system. It is hard to get through to certain people. So, like I said, I'm not never here to push a belief on anyone. All I'm saying is to believe in yourself, or not even believe in yourself. Know thyself, okay? Um, and embrace those gifts that you may have had, okay? Don't let mankind tell you that you don't have any, okay? And it's time to put them to work, okay? And it's time to challenge some of these people that have been telling you lies over time, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and look. I hope that kind of wrapped it up for you guys. I'm not a bad person. I'm just seeking truth. I'm someone that has been doing this for a long time. Um, I think I told my husband maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, after looking into information, I bet you we're gonna find out that so-called black people didn't even come from Africa. I bet you we're gonna find out that they was right here in the Americas. And you know what? I didn't even know that there was other people seeing it like this. But I went out and I found people, and now, I'm at a place where I'm linking up with soul siblings from all over the place, and we are just sharing information. No one's saying that any of this stuff is fact, because we have to remember all this is just information that's been played. These are tools. The real Christ or Christos is within. Okay, the real power of the beings that we call man, or sometimes mankind, I guess we can think about this, or indigenous peoples or whatever. Okay. um there is something special about you. Okay. But we've been made to think that there are certain people that have been put on pedestals in the front line, um and on platforms, that they are the ones that are special and you are not. So once we regain that sense of knowing thyself, then we'll be able to make some moves. Okay. So let's go ahead and again, it's late at night, so please bear with me if I get my words twisted up or anything like this. For those of you guys that have already been here, and maybe not for those that are new, um, I was so-called diagnosed with narcolepsy a couple years back, and sometimes when I don't know that I'm very sleepy until sometimes later on I watch these videos, and I might be like slurring or scrambling words or whatnot, and getting lost and all over the place. But you know, yeah. So I just wanted to go ahead and give that other disclaimer. That sometimes I think I'm awake, and I'm really not that awake. Okay, and this happens daytime, and at night. So let's go ahead and get into this. Sorry for all the rambling. I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit. Then we're going to look at this image right here. So I'm just going to leave these images here for you to look at while I'm reading this. And like, again, you guys know I don't have any kind of like, the only thing that I planned is I saw that this was interesting on this page 217 in this book. So it's been sitting here open all day. And then I just went and got my Living Bible / King James Bible. And I just opened it up to Genesis. Okay. So these are, and I have a couple images here that I wanted to refer to. Okay. So in September 1796, again, this is the question I'd like to ask. You guys know, are we in the seventh day? Okay. Seventh day, for you guys that are new, we're looking at the theory. Okay. I'm not telling you that anything that I'm saying is fact. When we look at the theory of let's see, the first through the seventh days that God was creating might be meaning from the year 1000 up into the 1700s. So the fifth day might be the 1500s, the sixth day may be the 1600s, and the seventh day may be the 1700s, and everything that happened within that time span. Okay. Or the 100 years to God might be one day to us, or one day to us might be 100 years, or some people even say 1,000 to God. Okay. So we're just going in. Okay. So I was doing something on John Adams the other day, John Quincy Adams, and I'll be putting that up maybe before or after this one. And then out of the same book, I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit about, we're looking at John Adams, but I just wanted to go ahead and go back a little bit because I thought this was interesting about George Washington. Okay. So in September 1796, Washington, okay, announced to the people of the United States in a valedictory address, okay, his intention of retiring from public life and spending the remainder of his days in his peaceful and quiet retreat at Mount Vernon. Now, okay, a couple things is coming to my mind because I like to wait for y'all when I read this stuff so the juices just be flowing. Okay, so right here, I'm asking you, is we in the seventh day, and then also, he said that he had intentions of retiring from the public life and, living a peaceful life. Now, I just want to ask you one thing, okay, since we're going into this. I just want to ask you one thing, okay? I don't know why that's doing that, okay? Now, okay, just like right here, this thing right here says, Commander of the American Army, 1775. President of the United States, 1789. Okay, because I told you that the firmament, that the forces or the might, I'm trying to refrain from using such terms as military and police force and these things. So if you guys hear me say that, the forces, this is probably what I'm talking about. Okay. So again, the firmament, I believe, has something to do with that type of foundation that was placed by them being able to have the military now here on this land. Okay, maybe even their own. Okay, that they could finally have their own. Okay, so that they can do what they need to do to finish doing tilling the ground and gardening. What was he doing? Placed a man to be its gardener, or we can even use the term planter because we know that that was a term that they used a lot back then. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So I just want to ask you what happened, okay? God looked over all he made and it was excellent in every way. This ended the sixth day, okay? And it says, now at last the heavens and the earth was successfully completed with all that they contained. So on the seventh day, having finished his task, God, let's read from the King James, okay? Thus the heavens and earth were finished, and all of the host of them. Okay. Now this brings me back to the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts, and who we really might be talking about in that instance when we're using that term or that terminology to speak of a certain Lord. Okay. And it says, on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made. These are the generations, okay, of the heavens and the earth. Okay. So, wait a minute. These are the generation of the, okay, and of the heavens and of the earth. Okay. All right, so I just want to ask you guys a question because this is what we do. I'm forever going to be a student. Okay, so what we're doing here is just asking questions. We just asking legit questions. Okay, because I told you that it wasn't you that was freed on the 4th of July, 1776. Okay, I'm just telling you. Okay, so what you're celebrating is your own demise on that day, and this is why I don't celebrate these days anymore. Okay, because I know better. So, not better than you, but I'm just saying I know better about the situation. Okay, I've seen into it, and I know that these holidays don't do anything but make fat pockets for the people that put you in the positions that you're in today. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and look at this, right? So, you know, Washington as what is this? A star, a Freemason. Again, I don't know whose thing this is, who created this image or whatever. But who is that? Lafayette. I really wish I can find a larger thing on this, but we're not able to. I don't know why this over here is reminding me of like the garden, how the Lord God had formed that man and planted him now in the east of the garden for some reason. Um, I this right here, I don't know what exactly this is, but I'm not gonna speak too much into it. But again, we have that black and white checkerboard floor, and I'm not trying to tell you that I know exactly what any of this stuff looks like, but I do see a lot of celebrities that you guys worship and um, some of these idols and stuff that you guys worship and watch their videos that has a lot of subliminal messaging and symbolic things going on in them. I noticed that they use it too. A lot of movies and television shows also. I do notice that this man or this mankind or this person of the government is there's more than two pillars here, but he's standing between two. I noticed that he has like a planter's tool, a tool that a gardener would use, or a trap. What do you call it? A trap. You guys know what I'm talking about. Some people use them to sculpt things like clay. I'm just saying. Look, the image is saying it. I'm not. Okay. So we also see, the G here. Could it be for George? Could it be for God? Could this be the G that's in the compass and the other kind of tool that is in the so-called Freemason thing? This thing right here. Okay. Sometimes there's a G there. Sometimes there's an I there. He has the one I here. He has this apron about the pap. He is a lawgiver, or he is giving some. You know what I'm saying? He's what? Oh, right here in the Living Bible it says to preside over the day and the night. So, and we know preside is also linked to president, okay? And that's what they call him, okay? Um, Here's a sash or something around him. Um, let's see. Let's see this image here. Oh, we have the sun burst around the G here for the background here. What else do we have? We say the lesser light to rule the day and the other light to rule the night. And then you have your then it said God made the moon and the sun and the stars. And I don't know, maybe this is like a comet or something here. I don't know. I'm starting to think, what are these? What are these comets? So, I mean, right now, okay, we think that that's what we're seeing when we see it. But what kind of damage? If they had some kind of machinery or something that we don't even know about right now back in that time, and that's how they were able to get through the lands and to, destroy lots of people and kill people in towns and stuff. I'm just wondering how, when it comes to this technology, how long has some of this technology really been around? So we're just looking at a couple things like that, right? Okay, and we're just looking at how then God chose the rest. All up in Genesis, we're talking about, the Lord God formed a man and put him on the east of the garden, so he can rule over it and do all this other stuff, right? Okay. But the first God, God, with the capital G, okay, um, he's resting now, okay? So let's go ahead and keep on looking, okay? So he retreated to Mount Vernon or whatever, okay? So in this admirable address, okay, let's see, admiral. That reminds me of the Admiralty. Let's see. I hope this works. I'll just keep on thinking something is about to happen. Okay, the rank or office of an admiral. Okay. The first lord of the Admiralty. Commissioner. Okay, the Lord's commissioners were always a mixture of admirals, known as naval lords or sea lords, and civil lords. Now we're going to go right on back over here to say, then God said, let us make a man, someone like ourselves, to be master. Master Mason. I'm just throwing stuff out there because I'm just doing it, okay? But it does say to be master of all life upon the earth and in the sky and in the sea. Okay. So again, we have to start looking at these things. If there is a such thing as a God, in that sense that they've fooled you into thinking, then why do we worship? Okay. I don't condone killing or murdering unless it is an eye for an eye in my eyes. But our whole world has been built with the blueprint of some people being able to say whatever they want to say about some other people and being able to go over and use people in order to eliminate other people. I don't agree with it or condone it. You can get mad if you want to when it comes to people that's in the military. I have nothing against the personal people that have been indoctrinated or may have been misled into doing certain things, but in my eyes, I feel like people need to be able to ask more questions when it comes to what we going over here to do. Okay, I know I'm getting off subject, but look, it was a certain time in my life when I was a hothead. You did something to somebody I knew, it was going down. Somebody that was close to me, okay? It was going down. And then it came to a point in time like, hey, if you my girl, you want to go and do this, or we want to roll up on whoever this is. But wait a minute, what happened? And if you wrong for what you doing, I'm not riding with you. Period. That's the point in time when I start having my family and my children and other things that I have to look forward to, or watch it, or people I have to watch out for. That if you own some bullshit, I don't care who you are or how close we are, I'm not riding. Period. I might ride and make sure that you don't, nothing too goes too bad. But for me to be talking about I'm about to be jumping in and all this and other stuff because you wanted to do something because you was mad or you was drinking or stuff, it wasn't going down like that no more. Okay, and you should respect me for that. Okay, so my thing is when it comes to these things, I believe that most of our people, the men and women that are risking their lives in order to, some of them come back here with issues that are not being taken care of by the very people that sent them over there, but will not send their own children over there. There's a problem. I have a problem with that. Okay. My personal preference that I have a problem. Okay. So that don't mean I'm going to do nothing about it or anything. I'm just telling you that we should really think about some of these things, okay? You're not going to be able to use a trick or a trick of the trade to convince me that we need to go over here and murder hundreds of thousands of people that didn't have anything to do with one airplane that may have been an inside job or not to a certain, I don't care who was in the building. If it was, I don't want you to go and kill all these other innocent people that had nothing to do with it. It just don't sound right to me. But see, they use fear tactics and fear mongering in order to lure you into asking for something that you really don't want in the first place. Now you want your sons and daughters back. I ain't saying, I'm not saying now. I don't know who's still over there and what, but I'm just saying, okay? Not from death or anything. I'm just saying, want them back on the land. You know, I don't play around when it comes to that. No one should be being harmed in these nonsensical things that these people are doing and just using us as the meat. Okay? So, you know how people used to say, "Oh, they just treat me, the men just treat me like a piece of meat." That's what I kind of look at how they treat these people. Okay? So, anyhow, the jurisdiction of court of law over cases concerning ships or the sea and the navigable waters in maritime law. I mean, I'm just keep telling you guys, just so we don't go to, oh, when was it founded? Admiralty Government Department, founded in the 7th day, 1700s. Really the 6th though. See, because that always tripped me out right here when we're talking about he looked at what he made and that was all in the 6th day. But now in chapter 2 of Genesis, verse 1, now at last everything was finished and all the host of them. Who are these hosts? Is it what we're just talking about right here? The masters of the life upon the earth, the earth, the skies, and the sea. Is that not what we're talking about right here? Okay. And then, and who was the commander? Let's look again. Who was the commander at that time? Where's the image? He was the commander of the military. So I'm not saying this is the exact person. This is the face. It could have been the real. I don't think we'll ever see the face of the real people that's behind these things. But I'm just saying, something just ain't right. Something just don't add up to me when it comes to this kind of stuff, how I'm looking at this. Okay. Let's see if this is going to show me something or just play games. Probably just play games. So, let's look at this. Okay. Yeah, so, and if this president had anything to do with this, look, I'm just saying, we got beehives here. What is all this symbolic to? These are the people that you're, I'm sorry, that was my chair. These are the people that your children look up to, that we've been reading about. But on the other sense, is it more than that? Is it more than that? Okay. And this is why they had to remove you so far by switching up the time and changing out the calendars into thinking something else that's so far-fetched that if you even come back to the truth and you start to see it, you're going to sound like a damn fool. So anyhow, let's keep on going. Okay. So he enjoyed the citizens of the United States with all the tenderness of a father's. I'm just wondering who y'all really praying to. I mean, if you don't want to know, I don't know. I really don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you if you cannot see what I'm trying to tell you that I think I'm seeing. So, let's see. A father's solicitude and affection to preserve that unity of government. It says government, but y'all know I'm always do it. Which consisted, or let's see, constituted, I don't know, them one people. Okay? That they should cherish a cordial, uh, habitual, and immovable attachment to it, almost like a parasite. But if you're, if you're one of these people that are looking at this person as some kind of hero, you're going to be reading that totally different. But if you're someone that is starting to see that these people may have taken everything from you and your people, you're going to start looking at it for what it is. Okay? If you came in riding on their coattails and been using their system in order to advance and achieve things in these lands, while it's okay to let the others sit back and swallow in the background, you're going to look at it differently. If you're one of the people that noticed the struggle of your people and now truth is coming out and you being set free, you're going to look at it a different way. So, let's see. Okay. Accustoming themselves to think and to speak of it as a palladium of their political safety and prosperity. I've never seen that word before. Palladium. Watching for its preservation with jealous anxiety, discountenancing whatever may suggest even a suspicion that it can in any event be abandoned. Again, we're walking around talking in, I wouldn't say parables, but somebody's talking around the fact, just doing too much when we can really just level this down a little bit. Okay? So, let's see. May suggest even a suspicion that it can in any event be abandoned, and an indignantly frowning upon the first drawing of every attempt to alienate any portion of our country from the rest, or to enfeeble the sacred ties which then linked together the various parts. What are we really talking about here? He then warned them in the most solemn manner to beware of baneful effects of party spirits. Okay. In governments purely elective, he continued, it is a spirit not to be encouraged from the natural tendency. It is certain there will always be enough of that spirit. Now, listen, what are we talking about? And then God breathed. What did he say? And he became a living soul. Okay, so we don't be too long. We just gonna go ahead and just keep it there. Enough of that spirit for every solitary purpose, and there being constant danger of excess. The effort ought to be by force of public opinion to mitigate and assuage it. Okay. A fire not to be quenched, it demands a uniform vigilance to prevent its bursting into flames, lest instead of warming, it should consume. Okay. So, let's see. I didn't want to stay too long in that, but there was something else I think I wanted to read. The address was received with feelings of the most profound respect and attachment. Okay, for its author and several of the state legislators, inserted to complete in their journals. Okay, and passed resolutions expressive to their exalted senses. Exalted. I know that that's one that we can find in the scripture. Sense of service and character of Washington and their emotions at his retirement from the office. Okay, on the 7th of December 1796, Washington was for the last time met with representatives of people in the Senate chambers. Okay. His speech to them on the occasion was comprehensive, dignified, interesting, and full of information. Okay, let's see. Prosperity of the country, treaties, to active external. Oh, sorry. To secure respect to a neutral flag, a naval force, organized and ready to vindicate it from insult or aggression. Okay, let me see. Okay, from the best information I have to obtain. Okay, I was always insecure, and our citizens exposed the calamities from which numbers of them have just been relieved. Okay, these considerations invite the United States to look to the means and to set about the gradual creation of a navy. After directing the attention of Congress to encouragement of the agriculture and manufacturers, the establishment of the National University and the institution of the Military Academy, he concluded his address in the following words: the situation in which I now stand for the last time in the midst. There's another word we just read. Let's see. Anyway, y'all know it's either in Genesis 1 or 2 where we talk about in the midst of the people. Okay? So, let's see. Of the representatives of the people of the United States naturally recalls the period when the administration wait a minute of the present form of government commenced, and I cannot omit the occasion to congratulate you to my country on the success of the experiment, nor to repeat my servant, or it says fervent, so maybe it is saying fervent, supplications to the supreme ruler of the universe and sovereign arbiter of nations. Wow, that's a mouthful. I wonder who that's talking about. Of nations, that his providential care may still be extended to the United States, that the virtue and happiness of the people may be preserved, and that the government which they have instituted for the protection of their liberties may be perpetual, just like your slavery. A special message to Congress, Washington explained at the length the relations existing between the United States and the French Republic. Now, I am kind of starting to lean towards, because we already seen that image of in the other video. Let me see if we can find it on here. Okay, let me see if we can find it on here. Again, I always tell y'all, if you see some weird stuff on the background in my images, it's not me, it's my research. Okay, so let's see what we're looking for. Let's just see if we can find it on the first page. Let's see. I must have misplaced Lots of images when I clean this thing out. Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay. Okay. So again, you know, I'm just wondering what this really represents. Between the two cherubim, one with the sword and one with the flaming torch. We also talk about that in Genesis. It's funny how this dude's name is, well, this one is John Quincy Adams, the younger, okay? Um, but there was the John Adams before him, which they just call him Adams. And I'm just saying, stuff is just weird to me when I'm looking at this. So again, the virtue of happiness, okay, blah, blah. In a special message to Congress, Washington explained at length the relations existing between the United States and the French Republic. At the election in October, the two great parties of the nations brought forward their candidates for presidency. The Federalists supported John Adams, and the Republicans, Thomas Jefferson. Now, were these people, was it a such thing as a Democrat back then? Okay. So the Federalists, I don't know if that's the same thing as the Democrats. I don't know. We'll have to look. Supported John Adams, and the Republicans Thomas Jefferson. After a sharp contest in which the parties were almost equally matched, the Federal Party prevailed, and Mr. Adams, having the highest number of votes, was declared president. And Mr. Jefferson, having the second number, was chosen vice president. Okay, so it wasn't really a choice for vice president. They just picked the lesser votes and made him the vice. Okay. They were inaugurated in the presence of Washington on the 4th day of March, 1797, and forthwith centered in the duties of their respective offices. Okay. Washington then departed as he thought forever, from the cares and duties of the public life, and retired to his seat at Mount Vernon. So, y'all can take it how you want. Let's look up Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon was the first plantation. And then what were plantations? What does that really symbolize? Who were the planters? And then there was a lot of yielding and seeding going on within those days. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Of the first president and his wife, Martha Washington. The state is situated on the banks of the Potomac River in Fairfax County, Virginia, near Alexandria, across from Prince George's Country, Maryland. Okay. Oh, okay. You know what? Let's see. Let's see some photos. Okay. Let's see if we can see some. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Hmm. Wow. Wow. Virginia, Maryland. Virginia, Maryland. Talking about the birth of a nation, honey. I'm not saying this is exactly the vicinity. I think it has more to do with that house that we call the White House. But again, you know, what are we really talking about? What are we really talking about? Hmm. So, oh, and while we're here, let's just see. Mm, Martha. Let's look at this. Um, again, I told you guys I'm not never really talking badly about these people. I have not figured this all the way out, but it is just a concern of mine. I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of us have may look at some pictures and say what was going on, like, okay, people had some rough pictures, had some rough days and everything. Um, might have been like, but like, I don't know. I be looking at some of these pictures and I'm just saying, what are we really looking at here? And I like to, when it comes to the story of the first lady, um, are we even talking about ladies? I mean, y'all could be mad or think I'm crazy if you want to, but I'm just saying we're in we're almost in 2020, okay? And this person, could look like this or whatever, but uh, again, what are you really what, what are we really looking at here? It's not even trying to be funny or really anything. I'm just saying I want to get to the bottom of a couple things before I leave this earth. I'm trying to get to the bottom of a couple things before I leave. So again, for the bare minimal of, we think all this stuff was fashion and all this stuff, but I just wonder sometimes, was this just over the top with the corsets and stuff because they had to make some people, especially prominent figures, look more like what they wanted you to think they were. That's all I'm saying. So anyhow, that was that. I was just trying to let you guys see that part about the images with the G, and then look like, what are we talking about? Because now we're talking about Adam, and then we're talking about John Adams. So just stay tuned because the next video is going to be about John Adams. And I had done John Quincy Adams first, which would be the son, or he came after. But I thought, I'll put that one to the side and then I will just go ahead and do the one on the father or the vice president. Because again, I'm not telling you what it is, but I find it so funny. Wait a minute. Let's see. The Continental Army settled in the Valley Forge, and the third. Okay, winter. Okay. Oh yeah, what was that? Dang, I passed up something totally different that I was supposed to put. Finding their attempts and because it said something about 8 years. Oh man, it said something about Washington and referring to these 8 years. I don't know if I brought it out to y'all when we were reading it or not, but I thought that was real funny about the 8 years when, you know, I was just thinking, what are we really talking about with the 8 years? Okay. Um, let's see. So, yeah. So again, I'm just tying this in, or tying what you would say loose ends, okay? So, let's just see a little bit about this. Uh Martha, wait, first marriage. Okay, so she was married to somebody else already, in 1750. Okay, first marriage on May 15th, 18. Martha married Daniel Park, whatever this dude's name is, a rich planter, 2 decades her senior, and moved. Damn, 2 decades her senior. So again, it's embedded in the fabrics of our society. Just telling you. And moved to his residence, White House Plantation. White House was a late 17th century plantation on the Pamunkey River near White House in New Kent County, Virginia. There were a total of 3 White Houses, all built on the original pre-1700 foundation. The original White House mansion was built by Colonial John Lightfoot just before the 1700s, something whatever. Okay, so located here, that's where she lived. Daniel Francis died as a child. John, okay. Control over a dower inherit. So dowry, maybe. Her husband's death in 1957 left Martha a rich young widow at 25, independent control over a dower inheritance. See, just like how they show you the throne over there and they show you how messed up them people were and all the dirty things that they were doing. The same thing was probably going on here. Of her lifetime and trustee over her children and her acres and 300 slaves. Okay. Let's see. And then the second one, okay, let's see. She was 27, so 2 years later, around 2 years later, uh, age 27, married on January at the White House plantation. As a man who lived and owned property in the area, Washington likely knew Martha and Daniel for some time before his death. Wealthier than, okay. So, let's see. First lady. So, yeah, I guess she was with him, by the time he had made it into the house. So, okay. So, yeah, I think that's just enough right there about this. Let's go ahead and go into Mr. Adam or Adam.